Hi everyone, and welcome to this online information session around the relaunch of the Guildford Business Hub. As I say, welcome. This is the Hub relaunch, where we're all about giving you the business skills, the accountability, the support, and building a community to give you the inspiration, the networking, and the collaboration to build the business you want. There's an information pack available. If you'd like to get hold of a copy, just message me on LinkedIn or via Facebook, and I will send a copy across to you. So just a little bit of background of me and why I'm eligible to run the Hub. I had a very corporate career, started my life as a trainee accountant with Unilever. Couldn't get on the company law, so moved into implementing accounting systems, moved into finance in the banking industry, got more into implementing general systems, change management, and then program offices. I was made redundant in 2003 and set up a business with a former colleague, Transformers Consulting Limited, and we struggled for a while, and eventually my business partner went back into corporate life, and I started another business called Arrow Management, and after learning some valuable lessons around marketing, created some content, got it out there, and turned that into £100,000 per annum business. I'll tell you a little bit about that a little bit later. In the meantime, I'd also helped my ex-wife set up and run a domiciliary care business. We got into property, so I had a couple of property companies, and we also set up and ran a motorhome hire business. So we've got quite a varied background of running different types of business, both B2B and B2C. Now, as a project manager, you'd expect me to have a plan. That plan was to build the motorhome business up, which we started to do, but we were going to accelerate that and get to anything from 20 to 50 vehicles. We're going to package that up, sell it as a going concern, use it to pay off some of the mortgages so that we'd end up with unencumbered income from the properties, together with my bits and pieces of pensions from various corporate roles. That would lead to a happy retirement. And here I am with my wife at somebody's birthday party. But unfortunately, after we started the motorhome hire business, my wife decided she didn't want to be married anymore, so we split up. And I spent the last few years untangling all the businesses, selling off the properties, closing down the motorhome business to really reduce everything I do back to some core things that I'm really passionate about. So what I do now is all around LinkedIn. I used LinkedIn to grow my second business, turned it into a six-figure business on the back of using LinkedIn effectively. So I started to teach people how to use LinkedIn as part of our move into property, because mortgage companies like to see other income besides property income. So I was doing business and LinkedIn consulting, business coaching and LinkedIn coaching to generate that extra income. I also created a mastermind group around LinkedIn, and I do a lot of work free of charge for small to medium-sized charities up and down the country. If you're interested in finding out more about what I do with the charities, do get in touch via LinkedIn. And I also run the Guildford Hub, or at least I did up until lockdown. I took over the Hub as I separated at the end of October 2017. We ran the Hub for a number of years until lockdown came around. We tried running online for a while, but with Zoom fatigue, I put the Hub into hibernation. A lot of people have been asking me to bring it back. I finally got around to agreeing to do that earlier this year, and the first full meeting of the Hub is on Thursday the 16th of February, and we'll then be holding meetings twice a month, first Thursday and third Thursday of every month from 10 o'clock until 11:30 at the Hideaway Cafe in Guildford. So who got the results with their business they really wanted last year? Now, when I've asked this question to many businesses, even the ones that did a good year last year, say they want something different for the coming year. And as good old Einstein said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So if you want different things from your business in 2023 or going forward, you need to change what you're doing. You need to do things differently. Some key realities. At the moment, the economy is absolutely in the doldrums. This is a fact, according to the BBC and many other broadcasters. I'm not as convinced of this as some people are. There is still a lot of money being spent. Yes, the inflation is high and there is a bit of a cost of living squeeze on, but people are still spending. The key is to make them spend their money with you. It's very easy with all the negative hype going on to really start to worry and get scared about what might happen. That isn't actually going to do you any good. Worrying about it won't achieve anything. You need to actually have a different mindset. Here's a picture of 3 parts of your brain. The picture on the left is the reptilian brain. It's for fight and flight. It's the part of the brain that kicks in when you sense danger or when you get really worried. And this is typically the bit of the brain that is being activated by all this negative hype on in the press and on the TV. You're getting into fight and flight mode. It might trigger the middle part of the brain there in purple, which is the middle picture, which is the emotional side, because you get very upset and very emotional when when you feel threatened. But what it doesn't do is trigger the mass of the brain, which is where you do all of your thinking, your planning, your executing. So you're not engaging with the best part of your brain when you're in this fight and flight mode. So you have to do something different. You actually have to take control of the things you can do. You can't change the inflation figures. You can't change government policy. You can't change the war in Ukraine. What you can do is control how you react to it, how you behave in the face of those situations. And that's the key to you being successful in your business. Now, the critical thing in your business, whether you're a solo entrepreneur or whether you run a small team or a larger team, the critical, most important thing in your business is you. Your business needs you. It needs you to step up and take control of those controllables, not to get buried in the weeds and worried about every little thing that's going on, but to step back and actually take control of how you react to things and make sure your business is the best it can be, and you can get that in front of your customers so that they buy from you instead of from somebody else. And it's all about your mindset. You have to accept that everything that happens in your business is your responsibility. Now, yes, you might get faced with price rises from suppliers. You might get faced with 1 or 2 customers saying, well, I can't afford to buy. But it's your responsibility to deal with that. There's no point in throwing your hands up and saying, oh, I'm going to go into huddle and hibernate for a year. Like I had to with the hub. I took responsibility for that and said, I'm going to actually close the hub down. And then focus on doing other stuff that I could support businesses with. If you want your business to continue, you have to accept responsibility and take actions. That's what's the vital thing. And if you don't take that responsibility, you will not make profits. Yeah. If you make excuses for what's going on, for why you can't do this, why you can't do that, you won't make profits. So I'd much rather see you make profits than excuses. So you are your biggest asset of your business, and you need to take care of yourself. And that's why, as part of the hub, we actually help you look after yourself as well. There will be sessions around your mental health and mental well-being for you and your staff. When I took over the hub, I got first aid trained and mental health first aid trained so that I could support my members as a community from all aspects of running their business, not just the technical business skills side of it. So you need to take control and focus on the things you can control right now, right here, right now. Don't fret and worry about all the other noise that's going on around you. You can't influence it. You can't do anything about it. Focus on what you can control. Taking responsibility gives you that control. And that's what you need to do if you want to be different and you want to succeed in the coming year. Now, your customers and your prospects they're in this too. And they're probably scared and they're probably panicking. They're using their reptilian brain and getting into fight or flight mode. But in reality, many of those customers are still buying, whether they're individuals or their businesses, they are still buying. They might be being a little bit more careful about what they spend their money on. They might be thinking hard before they actually spend. But actually, if they don't spend, their business won't continue. They have to continue marketing. They have to continue to buy raw materials for their services. They have to buy subcontractors. They are still buying out there. Your job is to make sure it's you that they buy from. And that's the responsibility you have to take to make sure that your customers know you're still there and that you're going to be there for them. Lots of companies in times of economic recession or downturn cut their marketing budgets. And that's the worst possible thing you can do. The most important thing to do is upskill yourself, get your product and service out there in front of the customers, remind them that you're still there and that when they are ready to buy and when they do need to buy, you are there for them and you are the person they need to buy from. If you hide and turn off your marketing, nobody will know you're there. They'll think you've gone bust. They won't buy from you. So how well do you know those customers? When I started my first business, we thought, myself and my business partner thought, well, we're good project managers, people buy us. And we know what project managers do, so we understand our customer. But we didn't really understand our customer. It was really the biggest failing that we had in that business. We didn't really sit down and work out who our target customer was, and we didn't understand what content to put in front of them that would be interesting, useful, and relevant to them. And then when I started my second business, that's the first thing I did. I sat down and worked out who my target market really was. I created content that was going to be relevant to them, that was interesting and useful for them. And in doing that and understanding who they were, I understood where to put that content so that they could consume it. And that's what I had to do. So I updated or created my customer avatars. I understood what their worries were. I understood what their concerns about buying from me might be. And I addressed those through my marketing campaigns and my marketing pieces so that when we got to have a conversation, I dealt with all the questions they had before they actually raised them. So my advice to you, if you want to be different in 2023, is to actually create or update your avatars. Make sure you understand where your customers are coming from right now. How are they reacting to the current market situation? What extra things do you need to do to convince them that you are the right person to buy from now? And that's why the first session for the relaunched hub is around creating avatars of your ideal customer. Who is your target customer is the name of that first session. Now, if you're watching this after we've run that first session, there will be online sessions available in the resource hub, which I'll talk about in a minute, that will enable you to catch up. So as I say, lots of people, when they start their marketing, they think, I've got to get stuff out on Facebook, I've got to get stuff out on LinkedIn. And they put together some content and they throw it out there. And they put it out there with a message, and I think, well, hopefully that's going to get and hit some of my market or a market somewhere. But the problem is that if you don't understand who that market is and you don't understand what messages to put out there that will be relevant, useful, and interesting to that market, you won't understand where to place those messages so that they actually get seen. That's why marketing is all about market first, message second, media third. And it's the fundamental mistake I made with the first business. We threw some stuff out there. We had no idea why it wasn't working. The second business I ran, I understood my market. I created the right messages. I got it in front of the people on the media they were using. For me, that was LinkedIn and Twitter. And that's why I was able to use LinkedIn, and I actually grew my business to a 6-figure business completely on the back of LinkedIn connections and sales. So your perfect customer is out there. You've just got to work out what messages, what content, what offers you're going to send to them to actually get them to buy. And that's where you might be doing some tweaking for the current market situation. That doesn't mean necessarily dropping your prices. It might mean changing your messages to emphasize the value you bring to the table and why they should be spending with you. Part of that is all about understanding your customer journey. And I like to use the example of a florist here, and being different in how they approach selling flowers to their marketplace. So if you have a typical florist, you want to send some flowers, say for your mum's birthday. So you search for a florist online, you give them a call and place an order. And they say, thank you very much. Right, we'll get those flowers off. And you hope that the next thing you're going to hear is a call from your mum say, oh, thank you for the lovely flowers on my birthday. They were really lovely. They're really nice. And hopefully see you later. Something along those lines. Not a great experience from you as the customer's perspective. I've heard stories of people that have placed an order and the flowers didn't arrive. And when they chased up and tried to find out why the flowers didn't arrive, the florist had transposed or written down the address slightly wrong. So they'd gone to the wrong number. Instead of 18, it went to 81 or 80. Further down the street, the person down the street didn't know the name of the lady up the street. And so the flowers didn't get to the right person. Such an easy thing to get wrong. But you could create a different customer journey so that it doesn't happen. So what if the florist sent an email confirmation to you, naming the florist that's actually going to be building or putting together the flowers for your mum, and confirming all of the details of your order so that you could check that they got the address right, you could check that they got the date right, and you could check that they got the spelling of your mum's name right, so that the message on the card was correct. That would be a much better experience. Well, what then if when the flowers get made up, you then get sent an email with a photo of the flowers showing you exactly what's going to be delivered to your mum? So that you're now, the florist is now building a rapport with you, the customer who's paying the money, and you've now got that confidence that your mum's going to get a lovely bunch of flowers delivered to the right address at the right time. A much better customer experience. The flowers then get delivered. And then 2 days later, now when you buy flowers in a supermarket, they always come with a little sachet of flower food. And most people go home, cut the stalks at the bottom, pop the flowers in water with the flower food. But actually, every good florist knows that the time to do that is 2 days after you've sold the flowers. 2 days after the flowers have been delivered, you should cut the stems, put them in fresh water with the flower food going in. So this florist sends the flower food 2 days later so that it arrives to the client that got or the client's mum, or whoever in this instance, we're using your mum as the example. 2 days afterwards, you get a little envelope with a sachet of flower food explaining why they sent it now, how it's going to help prolong the life of the flowers. And there'd probably be a little discount card in there saying, if you want to send some flowers, here's 15% off your first order. And that's a wonderful way of re-engaging with the client. And also, you've got an email in the meantime confirming that delivery took place. So you know the flowers got arrived. Your mum's going to get a discount card and the sachet of flower food later. Now, there's a whole bunch of stuff around this and making this florist the best florist they could be, particularly around what happens if you turn up and there's nobody at home. But that's all going to be covered when we talk about customer journey at the hub. So I'll leave that for now. So in February and March, we are focusing on who is your ideal customer. Then we're going to talk in a lot more detail about that customer journey. And then we're going to talk about something that most people don't really think too carefully about, and that's knowing your numbers. Now, when I say knowing your numbers, I'm not talking about your P&L and your bank account, your balance sheet. We will touch on those, but I'm talking about understanding how much you can spend to get a customer. Because you see, it's not always the business with the best product that gets the sale. It's the business that can afford to spend the most money to buy the sale effectively that will get the sale. So there's lots of people out there selling inferior products to you that are getting sales because they're prepared to spend more to get their products in front of people than you are. And that's all about knowing what your profit margins are. It's all about knowing how much you want to spend to get a customer. And that for that, you need to understand the whole series of steps that you go through to get a customer. Maybe you start off by putting some marketing out there, and the particular type of marketing gives you a certain number of clicks onto your marketing piece, which generates, and if you get a certain number of clicks, you'll get a certain number of leads. And then if you get a certain number of leads, you'll get a certain number of calls. And if you make a certain number of calls, you'll make a certain number of sales. It's all understanding what those conversion factors are. And that will help you drive your understanding of how much you can spend to get a customer. Because the more you can spend to get a customer, the more customers you'll get, the more sales you'll get, and the more profitable you'll be if you're doing it right. So that's what we'll talk about in that session there. This is all about thinking differently. And this is all based around the Pareto principle of the 80-20 rule. So in any particular market, 80% of the profit will go to 20% of the market participants. And the converse is true. In any particular market, 20% of the businesses are struggling to survive. They're the ones that are going to fail within the next 12 to 24 months. The next 60% are barely getting by. They're the people that are following the rule that Einstein says you shouldn't follow, which is they're doing the same old thing and expecting to get different results. That's not what you want to happen for you. 15% are making a living. It says just, but I'd say they're making a living. They're okay. They're getting by, and they're in the upper echelons here, and they are going in the right direction. Then there's 4% are doing rather well, thank you. They're quite comfortable. But then there's always that 1% that seem to get the cream, that seem to be able to do everything right. Now, lots of people in the 60% or in the 20% see the people in the 15, 4 and 1% and think, oh, if I copy them, I'll be able to get the rewards that they're getting. But what they're often doing is trying to copy what they see those people doing, what I call their front of stage. It's a bit like going to the theatre and you're seeing a performance on stage and you think, if I copy that, I could draw in a crowd like this and make some money. But actually, what happens on the stage is only possible because of all the stuff that's done in the background. All of the lighting, the structures, the scenery, the training, the marketing, that all goes on behind the stage to get people onto the stage to perform in front of that audience. But most people just try and copy what's on the stage. And that's why it never works for them. You need to be different. You need to understand how to put that stage on. And that's what the hub is all about giving you. So if you're different, how are you different? How do you differ from your competition? What makes you stand out from that competition? Why are you different? You've got to really ask these searching questions to really understand why you're different. And not only do you have to be different, you have to have a difference that your audience, your target market is going to appreciate. If they don't value that difference, then you're not going to get the extra credibility. You're not going to get the sale. It's no use having a feature that nobody wants to use. It won't actually get you any extra sales because nobody is interested in it. That's where we start with the hub in April, where we'll talk about branding and design and starting to help you stand out and make a difference. We'll help you understand what your difference is and then making sure that your branding and design reflects that difference and emphasizes it to your audience. We'll talk about getting the right images to use in your marketing so that you are actually creating the right feeling for your target market. We'll fight shy of using too many stock images. We'll talk about getting real images of you, your team, your products to get people to see how you deliver. We'll also talk about video for your business. It's an area where a lot of businesses shy away. They get very nervous about getting in front of video, but it is a really important aspect of marketing your business. And all the really successful businesses in the coming year will be using video in their marketing. We'll talk about your website. Now, lots of people's websites look absolutely fantastic. They look really lovely, but they don't convert. They don't win business. It's because they've been designed to look good, but they've failed to answer 4 critical questions. And this session will all be about answering those 4 critical questions. If you want to know what those questions are, you need to come along on the 18th of May and find out. It's not about a successful website doesn't need to look that pretty. It needs to answer 4 key questions. Now, most of the social media platforms we will cover via online sessions, but I'm going to do a face-to-face session on LinkedIn, not just because it is a system that I am really committed to and I coach people in, but it's because it's a fundamental building block of your business. It's where you can demonstrate and prove your capability, your credibility, and demonstrate your skills. And it can, if you're certainly in B2B, it can be a huge source of leads for you. So it's a really critical part of your business landscape, as is your Google business profile, formerly called Google My Business. This is a free service offered by Google, and it really is critical. Google is the place where people search for you and your business and the stuff that you sell. So it's really important that you have an effective Google business profile. So we'll go through that session. Then we'll touch on some of the less glamorous marketing tools that are perhaps fallen out of favor with many businesses. Email marketing being a key one. So many businesses these days think that, well, open rates are down, nobody's actually reading emails anymore, there's too many emails flying around. Well, if you do email marketing right and you have the right headlines and the right content, email marketing is still the cheapest way to generate leads, but it needs to be done right. So we'll talk to you about how to do it right. We'll also talk about lead magnets, which is a way of growing your list through email marketing, through your website, through social media posts. Lead magnets are a vital way to actually start to build that email marketing list. And we'll talk about print marketing, another unloved area, but for the right businesses in the right circumstances, print marketing can be the most effective way of generating new leads for your business. And then all of that requires great marketing content. So session on the 17th of August will be all about how do you go about writing great content? What are the rules for great content? And how can you get help to do that? So it's really, really important that we do that. Now, as I mentioned, there will be other support online. We will, depending on demand, we will talk about the other social media platforms. We'll also run sessions on Google and Facebook ads. We'll run a session on Sales Navigator if LinkedIn is your focus and you want to use the high-end tools for generating leads. We'll talk about entering awards. because that's a great way of getting your name out there. If there's demand, we'll talk about e-commerce, and we'll also run a session on selling your business. Now, you might think, well, I'm only just starting my business, or I don't want to sell my business. But actually, if you have the mindset around wanting to sell your business at some point in time, the approach that you need to do to get that business ready for sale will actually make it much more profitable in the shorter term as well, and actually make it easier to run and much more beneficial for you. So there's a lot of things about selling your business that you should be doing now, and then when you want to sell your business, you don't actually get to do anything else, anything extra. You'll get a really good valuation for your business. So it's a really valuable session to run. As I said, we will create this resource portal, or we have created this resource portal, where all of the handouts and the materials that we use at the hub and extra sessions will be posted. The online sessions that I just talked about will also be recorded and are made available through the Business Hub resource portal. And for those of you playing catch up because you've missed the first few sessions of the hub, there will be online versions of those sessions put into the portal so that you can play catch up and get up to speed and catch up with everybody else that's in the hub. So what's the most important thing you need to do for your business to be successful? It's a great question, this, and the answer is getting and keeping customers. Once you have a product or a service that's viable, unless you have customers, then you've got no business. So getting and keeping customers is really, really important. So we're back to here the Pareto principle and the key to being different and being different. And that is your focus on your time. Yeah. We just talked about the most important thing about the business is getting and keeping customers. Well, you need to focus your time on achieving that. The Pareto principle, aka 80-20 rule, is all about that. So if you've got 80% of your results coming from 20% of your time, that 20% of your time, you really want to focus on doing stuff for getting and keeping customers. And you want to make sure that that gets priority in your diary every single day. For example, if you do a 7.5-hour day, which is a typical working day, as an entrepreneur, I know we often do much more, but if you take the standard working day of 7.5 hours, 20% of that is 1.5 hours, that's 90 minutes. If you focus your efforts 90 minutes a day on getting and keeping customers, you will have a successful business. So if you want to be different, you need to do your 90 minutes every single day. You need to schedule that time in your diary to make sure it happens. You need to set deadlines. When I decided to relaunch the hub, or I was talking about relaunching the hub for some time, and people kept saying, when are you going to do it? And I kept putting it off. And then I heard about this big networking event that was taking place at the Surrey Sports Park. And I thought, well, that's the ideal place to launch or relaunch the hub. And that set me a deadline. That event was happening on a certain date. So I had to get things done. And that's what drove me to actually make things happen and get the hub out there. So deadlines really, really work. You need to set yourself deadlines. You also need to learn to delegate. You need to offload and get other people to do stuff for you. So, I could play around forever on graphics and signs and videos, all that sort of stuff. But if I actually get other people in to help me, I get the job done quicker, more effectively, and I actually then have my time to do the most valuable stuff that I can do, which is get and keep customers and then service those customers. Automation is another key thing here. If you automate as much as possible within your business, you will save time. You only got 24 hours. We've all got the same 24 hours. It's how you make use of that 24 hours that's really, really key to you being different and you being successful. Automation helps you save as many of those 24 hours each day as possible. And then you need to set and keep boundaries. So it's all about making sure that you are focused on what you need to do. So when you're going to sit down to do your 90 minutes, turn your phone off. Turn the email off so that you can focus on what you need to do. In actually creating this recording, I've turned my phone off, I've turned my emails off, there's no alerts coming up. I'm focused totally on this. You need to set those boundaries. So many people answer their own phones all the time. If you want to call with me, I have a Calendly system where I can send you a link, or you can pick up the link from one of my posts or one of my websites, and you can book a call. And that call will then be in advance, booked in advance, so I'll know it's happening. I can prepare for it because I'll have asked you certain questions around the call. And that means I can be effective on the call. And it means that I can actually have the call in time slots when I am free for those calls, not when you decide you want to try and call me, when I'm trying to do something else. You've got to set and keep those boundaries if you want to be different. So 2023 is your chance to be different, your chance to make it the best year you want it to be. So the question is, what is or will stop you? And it could be any number of things. Any one or combination of all of these things and a whole bunch of other things could get in your way. The hub is all about giving you the skills, the accountability, the clarity to help you drive through all this noise, all this fug, to actually deliver for your business. It's here to help. We'll give you the skills and knowledge you need to build the business you want. We've got the content program mapped out for the year. We've got the resource portal up and running, and content will be added to that as we go through the hub program. We'll provide you with accountability buddies being allocated at each meeting. You'll get the support from me with either quarterly or monthly one-to-ones, depending on which level of membership you take. And we'll be building a business community to help each other. So standard membership is £49 a month. For that, you get the 2 in-person work skills workshops per month. That's the first Thursday and the third Thursday of every month. You get workshop workbooks. You get access to the online resource hub. You get the accountability buddy, and you get a 45-minute one-to-one with me every third month. There will be ad hoc additional workshops, which we talked about, and there'll be a LinkedIn and a WhatsApp group as well. If you go to the next level, which is VIP membership at £89 a month, it's the same as the standard membership, but now you get a monthly one-to-one with me, so that I can help keep you on track alongside your accountability buddy, and make sure we're driving you in the way you want to be driven and in the direction you want to be driven in to deliver that better business for you. At some point during the year, we will create the hub board, which is by application only. With this, you'll get an extra monthly board meeting, which will be a mastermind board where we'll tackle issues in your business to help you become the best business you can be. Your monthly one-to-ones will be upgraded from 45 minutes to an hour, and you'll also get a mid-month 20-minute check-in call with me to make sure that you're on track. There will be some additional groups as well. So various options there for you. Everything we've talked about today is great, and giving you knowledge and skills is great, but it's all to do with implementation. If you don't get things done, nothing will happen. So are you going to take the step of joining the hub, coming along to our meetings on a regular basis, putting into action the stuff that you learn, and getting the support from the community to help you do that? That's the challenge that I put down to you. Now, if you've got any questions, since this is a recording, you can book a call with me by scanning the QR code below. Scan that QR code. It will give you an opportunity to book a call with me to talk about the hub and see whether it's right for you and what level of membership is right for you. So book a call today. Let's get chatting, and let's get you joining the hub and making a difference for your business in this coming year. Thanks very much for listening, and I hope to see you at the hub soon. Bye for now.